What is going on, everyone? This is Eric coming at you from just outside of Hartford, Connecticut. And today we are continuing the Rant series, sticking with hockey, as we're going to discuss the Boston Bruins and why I despise the Boston Bruins and why they get their own video. And you guys definitely knew this first bullet point, okay? Brad Marjan. I'm just going to jump right into this one. So Brad Marjan is probably, he's definitely one of the three dirtiest players in the league, along with Ryan Reeves and Tom Wilson. But of the three, he's the only one I'm not a fan of in any way, shape, or form. That's because this guy delivers dirty hit after dirty hit after dirty hit. And he gets away with it, and then he'll start crying if you look at him the wrong way on the rink. So to me, if you're gonna be a bully, if you're gonna fight people, if you're gonna deliver hits, you gotta be able to take them back. Wilson and Reeves will drop gloves. Marjan will try to hide. He'll fight if he has to, but he will try to hide. And it's ridiculous to me. Marjan is among the dirtiest players in the league, no doubt among the dirtiest players in the league. So if you like Marjan, I don't know what to say to you. And yes, I'm a hypocrite because I do like Tom Wilson, but Marjan just, when he retires, NHL is going to be a better place without him. Dirty player, dirty player. 2011 playoffs. Now you'll notice I did color code this one. I just wanted to be kind of cool. Shout out to the Bruins there because we'll get to why in a second. But so the 2011 playoffs. Of course, I'm going to mention the 2010 playoffs real quick. Bruins held a 3-0 series lead against the Flyers. Flyers came back and won. The Bruins also held a 3-0 lead in Game 7, but blew it and lost 4-3. So, of course, I have to mention that. The Bruins would get their revenge the following season, ended up sweeping the Flyers in the playoffs, and then going on to win the Cup. Yeah, I mean, we both took series against each other. But why was 2011 so important? Because it ended the Mike Richards, Jeff Carter era in Philadelphia. After that loss, the Flyers traded away both of their players. And it hurt as a Flyers fan to see it happen. Yeah, the Flyers got some players back. You know, Braden Shen, Wayne Simmons, Jacob Voracek. But Richards and Carter were just their own breed. And it ended up losing those two, ended up putting the Flyers in this mediocre period of 5 years or so. And you have to wonder what would have happened if they had kept Richards and Carter, but unfortunately, we will never know. So, yeah, thanks, Boston, for screwing us over for 5 years at minimum. Original six. So, I hate how whenever you talk to a Bruins fan, they bring up the original six. And it's not just Bruins fans who do this. Obviously, it's any of the original six teams. When I say, oh, I'm a Flyers fan, they're like, oh, well, we're in the original six. Okay, what's your point? What's your point? Next point is 6 Stanley Cups. So what I'll say every time when they go, oh, we're part of the original six, is I say, congratulations. Why do you guys only have 6 cups then? If you were one of a few teams in the league for something like 40, 45 years, you should have more rings than 6, should you not? And they only got 3 rings in the original 6 era of 40, 45 years, whatever it was. So Boston fans shouldn't be bragging about being an original 6 team when they only got 3 rings in that time period. And yes, you could counter me and say, well, that means they got 3 in the modern era. Yes, but 2 of them were in the early 70s. So, I mean, there were still only 12 teams, and of those 12 teams, 6 of them were still roughly expansion teams. And keep in mind, they would lose to the Flyers in the first non-original 6 team to win the Stanley Cup. So, shout out to Boston for that one. Zdeno Chara and his hit on Max Pacioretty. So, if you guys don't know the hit I'm talking about, check it out. It ended up kind of changing the rule book. Chara claimed after the fact, oh, it was accidental. No, it wasn't. Dirty player. He goes out of his way. Big guy. We all know it's Zdeno Chara. And he just shoves Pacioretty into the boards in a really bad spot, almost killing Pacioretty. Almost ending the guy's career. And of course, Chara after the fact, oh, it was an accident. I didn't mean to do it. Or, oh, it's rivalry. It's us in Montreal. Yeah, public enemy number 1 the minute he stepped foot in Montreal after that. So, Marty McSorley's assault on Donald Brashear. Again, if you don't know this one, check it out. Marty McSorley and Donald Brashear were both enforcers in the 90s. So, yeah, enforcers, 90s hockey. But in the early 2000s, Marty McSorley, who was on the Bruins, he wanted to fight Brashear. Brashear didn't want to fight him in this particular moment. So what McSorley does is he takes his stick and whacks Brashear in the back of the head. Needless to say, this happened in Canada, in Vancouver. So the Canadian police were done. They actually put out a warrant to arrest McSorley because that's assault with a weapon, they said. And fortunately for McSorley, Brashear was okay, all said and done. I think he suffered a grade 3 concussion. So obviously short term he was hurt. Long term he's definitely not the same. But McSorley got lucky that he didn't do any serious, murder or something like that. Because the Canadian government was PO'd. They were not happy with the attack, with the assault. And it didn't even really, it caused like a little bit of a scrum, but it didn't cause a massive fight because everyone was freaking out about Brashear. So, yeah, definitely if you're into that one, check out that video if you haven't seen it already. Marty McSorley was a dirty player. Former coaches. So you might be saying, why do I have former coaches listed? Just look at these two names they have. Don Cherry, Mike Milbury. Where to begin? So obviously we all know the Don Cherry incident in the past year. I think it was early 2020, if not late 2019. He got fired for being, for racist comments on the news. Mike Milbury, similar player. These two guys just don't belong in the sportscaster world. Thankfully, Cherry's gone. Milbury, I think, is gone as well. Same incident. He made racist comments. But we'll all remember Milbury. He was also a player for the Bruins, as the guy who stormed into the stands and beat up a guy with his own shoe. In the history of the Boston Bruins video, I know I mentioned that incident. I know I mentioned Mike Milbury. Check that out if you haven't already. But Milbury, dirty player. Why would you attack somebody with his own shoe? Eddie Shore, old school. So Eddie Shore was a very, very dirty player in the early days of the Boston Bruins. And Eddie Shore, I understand old school hockey was different than modern day hockey. Okay, I get that. But he almost killed, he ended the career of a Maple Leafs player named, I believe it was Ace Bailey. Again, I mentioned this incident in the history of video. And he had no remorse. After he retires, he ends up buying the Springfield Indians AHL team when they were the Springfield Indians. And he was a putrid owner of a team. He would lock the refs out of their locker rooms if they made calls he disagreed with. He would, do what modern day owners do too, where he would bench a player if he was close to getting a contract incentive hit in. Like, oh, this guy's at 29 goals and we have 3 games left. He gets an extra, $20,000 if he hits 30 goals on the season. Bench him. So yeah, just a dirty guy. And what really upsets me is that the Bruins actually retired his number. So yeah. If you wanna stay affiliated with him, that's a knock on you. Last point, the Boston fan base. You guys know I despise Boston fans. Biggest bunch of bandwagon fans, biggest bunch of babies. They don't know what they're talking about. You mention anything sports to them, and they'll go, well, Brady's the GOAT. Okay, let's not talk about that. Well, Ortiz is the GOAT. Okay, so, and the Celtics are the best team in NBA history. Look at all the titles they have. Interesting that you bring that up when, if I mention the Yankees have the most titles of baseball, you shut me up. Oh, it's different. Not really, Boston. Now, the only reason I color-coded this was because the Bruins have the least toxic fan base of the 4 Boston fans. I don't really have too much beef with Bruins fans. They're not good people, okay? They're not good. But they're the more quiet group of the Boston fans. I don't hear Boston fans telling me, oh, well, we're the best in the world, more than anybody else does. Of course, every team does that. But Boston fans are notorious for it. Do I have one good thing to say about the Boston Bruins? I do. The one good thing I will say about the Boston Bruins is they do have some young talent that I like, including David Pastrnak. They have Andre Kasha. They have Nick Ritchie. I like these guys. I like Charlie McAvoy. So don't ruin their careers. Also, don't knock my Flyers out of the playoffs, or you're going to have a problem. This was the Bruins Rant. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Have a good rest of your day.